Hello everyone, this is Tim again, and I'm going to do like a two-parter video response, one to the Satanic Panic and the other one to why do I play RPGs. So with the Satanic Panic thing, I've actually been pretty lucky as far as that goes. I was trying to think of all the things that might have happened around that. The only thing I really faced was with Magic the Gathering. I had some friends in like church youth groups that kind of did like an intervention with me. They kind of like ambushed me one day when I got back to I guess there was two things really. Yeah, I came back to my dorm room in college, and they all had this like talk with me about what they they represent, and what am I doing with my life and all this kind of stuff. And I was just like not prepared for that at all. Like, I just got back from like an ethics class, I think. I found the whole situation kind of surreal and weird. The other time was just like back in youth group in middle school, and I think the beginning years of high school. Had some friends, and I think one of my girlfriends at the time who was in the youth group gave me a lot of issues with that. She's like, what are you doing? Well, why do you think this is cool? All that kind of stuff. So that was pretty weird. My parents, though, were very supportive. It was actually my mother who bought my first RPGs and kind of got me into fantasy and supported me as far as all that stuff goes. So I guess in that regard, I had a very opposite experience. My father, however, I think all the support came from my mother. My father has always had this distant sort of, I don't know. He kind of looks at the whole thing like it's an enigma he can't understand, and he doesn't really know what to think of it, and he doesn't seem to have an opinion pro or against. So he's sort of like distant neutral, I guess. The only other, not really Satanic Panic thing, but I was at a convention, and some guys were watching the Steeler game in the lobby, and we were running a game up on the top floor, and they were kind of shaming us, ridiculing us. And I had one guy who was actually, I guess, braver maybe than the other ones. He came up and like got right in my face. I was carrying like a milk crate full of RPGs and various character sheets and props and books and things for a game I was going to run. I think I was actually going to run the thrash metal superheroes of the apocalypse game that I've talked about before. And he was asking me questions, and instead of sort of bouncing his attitude back at him, I just answered the questions to the best of my ability, like pretending like he was asking sincerely, which he wasn't. And I remember it was interesting because more of his friends came over, and it was kind of sketchy. It got a little sketchy there, I'll be honest. I'm not a very tall guy. I think I'm like 5'8". I'm bulky. I'm kind of built like a tall dwarf, but I'm not very imposing, I don't think. So it was good that my friend Mike Bolam, he runs a lot of Dungeons and Crawl Classics in the Pittsburgh area, and he's in a metal band. He's like big hairy dude. He's awesome. And he came up behind me and kind of gave me some support, so I was kind of glad for that. And we went upstairs, and I remember too that kind of thinking about the whole situation that the guy's girlfriend, who was kind of being a dick. She kind of had this smirk on her face, like whenever I would give an intelligent response to whatever he was throwing at me, and like he didn't know how to respond to certain things because I was being so serious. And again, I guess I was kind of having fun. I get kind of ornery sometimes. So yeah, I guess I don't really stand up to people a lot, so maybe that's why I think pretty fondly of that situation. But yeah, that's one thing that came to mind. With like being a GM and why I run things, I put some notes down here. Why do I continue to play RPGs? Well, one, it gets I can express my creativity, and it's endless. I think I can't remember else who said that. I've been watching so many videos now. But I can always tinker on something. I can always work on something, come up with a new setting, artifact, spell, monster, whatever. And sometimes I'll draw that stuff too, to kind of just get some of that creativity out of me. And I feel like I'm doing something. I'm being productive, I guess. I don't know. It's soothing. It's comforting. And I love the whole social interaction aspect of it too. Get to meet new people and talk to people, and that's really why I've kept up with the RPG videos. What got me into running games? Again, I kind of had to, but me and my brother early on were kind of neck and neck, I think, on who was going to run the games more. I think he was better at reading the rules and taking notes. So often he would do that too, and then pass that stuff over to me, and then I would kind of take take the reins from there. And I'd read it too, but he seemed like he was better at digging into the details of things, whereas I was more of like an overall kind of pitcher guy. And I'm not really a specialist; I'm like a generalist. So that was our differences early on, which I noticed. We just ran for the neighborhood kids, and I think I mentioned in this video too that we just kind of kept it secret and really didn't tell a lot of people about it. I think that was in a comment I left, but yeah, it was really just our local group for a long time, and I really just branched out later in my 20s is when I really started to do stuff with other people, other than that the local neighborhood kids. Difficulties that I had, I mentioned digging into the rules, like Jonas said that he couldn't really grasp it all. He doesn't have like a photographic memory where he can remember every single subsection, part B, things of the rules. Rewarding, just I love making people laugh, and that kind of folds itself into, I guess people pleasing in a bad way, but in a good way. It's just seeing people legitimately enjoy something that I created, or at least that I got rolling. I started the introductory section of the adventure, and then it went from there. But like I got the ball rolling, and they enjoyed it, and that's the kind of stuff that I really like to see. I like to see brand new players too. Just like I've done a lot of convention games where I ran games for the first timers, and I love to see the look on their face, like, holy crap, this is fun. Like, I had no idea it was this fun. I've been making fun of this for years, or I thought it was weird for years, and then they get that taste of it, and like the next year they show up again, like, hey man, I was in your game last year. Are you running anything? I loved seeing that. Just that excitement. Someone who found something new and they realized how enjoyable it was. Why did I get into the community? Again, just making connections with people. I just adore people. I think it's weird though, because they kind of overwhelm me too. It's like I think people's emotions, I just take them all in too much. I absorb too much. But as far as like online communities go, I don't think that's as much so. So one, I get that need fulfilled of trying to hang out with people, and two, I don't get too overwhelmed. Challenges for running games, there's a lot of videos about that. GM burnout, and sometimes the creative energy isn't there. Let's see here. How do I feel about the role? Sometimes I think that I would enjoy being a player more, and then I become a player. I'm like, oh man, I probably should be running something like this. So it's kind of one of those things where I don't think I'll ever stop running games. I take breaks now, which I didn't before, and I find that very helpful. I don't run games as much as I used to because of real life issues and work and job and kids, and I'm going back to college and all these kind of things. But I always think fondly of it. All right, I'll try to cut it off there. Thanks for listening, everybody. Talk to you later.